The rain came sideways, slanting hard against the windows as I stepped onto the porch. Charleston storms had a way of punching through silence, filling spaces with static. My key was already in my hand before I realized how cold it had gotten. Thumb to brass. Twist. Resistance. No click. I stared at the knob. Tried again. Still nothing. The lock had been changed. I pulled back slowly. Blinked. Tried again. Twist. Dead. Twist. Dead. The door refused me like a stranger. Okay, I whispered to no one. I stepped off the porch, heart tapping against my ribs. The wind knifed through my soaked shirt. Around the side, I tested the back door. Bolt deadlocked. A thin glint of steel. New. Shiny. Too clean. Then I saw it. A tiny red light blinking under the eaves. Security cam. I never installed one. I stepped back, eyes scanning. Window shades drawn. Porch light off. No sign of movement. Not even the dog. I pulled out my phone, thumbed through the messages. Scrolled to the last group thread. Thursday, 6:14 a.m. Florence Harper, Lillian's flight leaves early, but we'll be back next week. Can you water the garden? No mention of locks. No mention of a camera. Just silence. I typed a message. Me, why is my key not working? 3 dots. Then they vanished. I stood there in the rain for 20 minutes before the response finally came. Florence, didn't think you'd be home early. We'll explain later. Stay at a hotel tonight. Please don't make this dramatic. I stared at it. My fingers trembled. Not from the cold. This wasn't an accident. I turned, crossed the lawn, lifted the rusted edge of the garden gnome, and pulled out the emergency key. I tried the garage. New padlock. I opened the utility box behind the gate. Circuit labels scratched out. Wires rerouted. Zip ties and new dates. April 21st. Last week. They knew I'd come back. Inside my chest, something dropped. Not rage. Not fear. Calculation. I got back in the truck. Wipers beat a frantic rhythm as I checked the county property database on my phone. Search, Harper Residence, 24, Salt Hill Road. Owner, transferred 10 days ago. That was my name. Now it wasn't. I swallowed. My lungs burned like I'd been running. But I hadn't even moved. I just sat there, staring at that line of text that had somehow erased my entire life. My finger hovered over the call icon. I hit Lillian's name. No answer. Voicemail, hey, it's Lily. If this is urgent, text me. If it's not, don't. I didn't leave a message. Instead, I opened my email. New unread message. No subject line. Just a sentence. They didn't just leave you behind. They locked you out on purpose. No sender. No signature. My chest went tight. They left for the beach. And I came back to find I no longer existed. I didn't leave the house. I left my name off the deed. Big difference. The motel smelled like bleach and disappointment. I hadn't slept. Just stared at the popcorn ceiling until dawn cracked like bone. By 7 a.m., I was parked outside the Charleston County Clerk's office with coffee I didn't taste and hands that wouldn't stop twitching. Tell me it's a mistake, I said to the woman behind the glass. Her fingers tapped across the keyboard. Name on the original deed? Elias Harper. Property at 24 Salt Hill. She squinted at the screen. Typed again. Sir, your name isn't listed on the current title. It's under Lillian Harper. My stomach shrank into itself. No. That's impossible. She shrugged, sliding a printed document through the slot. I read the date, filed 11 days ago. Transferred under private transaction. Signed. Stamped. Notarized. No warning. No call. No legal notice. I gripped the paper. Can you verify the notary? She flipped it over. Amy Trask. That name pulled something tight behind my eyes. I'd heard it before. I Googled her in the parking lot. Amy Trask. Died 5 months ago. Stroke. Charleston Post had a 2-paragraph obit. So either Florence was summoning ghosts to sign property transfers, or someone forged the whole damn thing. I felt heat rise to my ears. A thought like thunder. They didn't even try to hide it. I drove across town. Dust billowed as I tore through the old storage unit I'd rented 2 years ago. Behind the camping gear and broken fan, I found the box I needed. Tax returns. Receipts. Bank slips. Mortgage applications. 3 years ago, I'd co-signed on a second lien to keep them from foreclosure. I'd paid it off in 18 months. My name had been all over it. Now? Vanished. I flicked open the folder marked legal. There it was. My signature. My responsibility. So how the hell did they erase me? Sometimes the knife in your back has your own handwriting on it. I muttered. Cut to. I parked outside Malcolm Price's office in Mount Pleasant. His blinds were drawn. Door locked. I banged once. Then twice. Finally, he opened. Slacks, loosened tie, stale breath. Eli? He looked like he'd aged 5 years. Need a minute, I said, stepping in before he agreed. His office smelled like sweat and printer toner. I dropped the forged title on his desk. This went through your office. He blinked at it. Looks clean. It was signed by a dead woman. He froze. She notarized it posthumously? I leaned forward. How much did she pay you? Excuse me? You heard me. Florence is your mother. She's something. So is Lily. But one of them's signing ghosts into property fraud. Malcolm swallowed. His eyes flicked toward the bookshelf. I followed his gaze. Not books. A safe. You're gonna open that, I said. He raised his hands. You're tired. Angry. This isn't the way. No. This is exactly the way. Cut. He didn't open the safe. But he gave me a name. Ask Rhea Sinclair, he said. Who the hell is that? She set up the digital filings. Smart. Ex-NSA contractor. I didn't know everything. I swear. I stood at the door. You always know enough to be guilty. Back in the truck, I pulled up Rhea's LinkedIn, nothing. Facebook, gone. I Googled the name. 2 results. One was a forum post from 2022, beware this woman. She's a professional ghost. She'll erase your life with a smile. I leaned back, brain ticking. Rhea. Surveillance cams. Florence's new tech friend. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. A text. No name. Just a number. Stop digging. Or next time, we don't just change locks. I stared at the screen. Cut scene. A flash of last night. Rain. Porch. Dead key in the lock. I wasn't being excluded. I was being extracted. I drove straight to Salt Hill. Parked behind the house. Snuck around back. No one home. Just silence. The good kind. I slipped into the old shed. Found my stash behind the paint cans. Every receipt. Every dollar I poured into this place. Fridge? $1,200. Paid by me. Sofa? Split with Florence. Her half still owed. Microwave. Washer. Rug. Me. 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 They thought I'd just vanish. They thought I'd let it go. But if I've been erased on paper, it's time to rewrite everything in steel. Lock by lock. The locksmith showed up 10 minutes late. Worn boots, cigarette breath, a face that looked like it had seen too much and said too little. "What's the job?" he asked. "Everything," I said. "Front, back, garage, all exterior locks. Every key that exists, I want them dead." He raised an eyebrow. "Divorce?" "Worse. Family." He didn't ask another question. By the time he unpacked his kit, I was already moving through the house. Barefoot. Quiet. The carpet felt colder than it should have. Too clean. Sterile. Like no one had lived here since I left. Except they had. I started cataloging. TV mine. Bought it Black Friday, used my own card. Coffee machine, wedding gift to myself when they forgot my birthday. Couch, joint purchase. But I'd Venmo'd Florence the full amount when she couldn't cover her half. Dining table. Microwave. Rug. Chairs. I touched every object like it might vanish. Because they already tried to erase me. The locksmith whistled from the front. Deadbolts corroded. This one's been replaced. Recent. Of course it had. I moved upstairs. Master bedroom. My room. Empty closet. Sheets stripped. Furniture gone. Walls bare except for a nail where my diploma used to hang. In the closet corner, something caught my eye. A strip of light bleeding through the floorboards. I crouched. Pulled at the baseboard. It snapped free. A hidden panel. And behind it, a folder. Just like that, my heart stuttered. Inside, printouts of hospital bills, insurance claims. All under Florence Harper. Chronic illness codes, cancer treatment. But no one had ever said she was sick. A second folder. Bank transfers. Withdrawal slips. From my account. Forged signature. Same curve. Same fakie. That's how they paid the legal fees. They used my money. They used me. My phone buzzed. Block number. Voicemail. I hit play. Florence's voice, "Eli, this isn't the way. You're making it worse. This is temporary. We just needed space." Click. Trust dies one signature at a time. I said it out loud, barely breathing. Cut to living room. I stood by the front door, watching the locksmith wrap up. He handed me a ring of keys. All new. No copies. I nodded. Thank you. I locked the door behind him. Clicked the deadbolt. Turned. And that's when I noticed the tiny green LED on the hallway camera. It was blinking. Live. I disconnected that line 3 days ago. Ripped the wire out of the modem myself. So why was it still on? I grabbed a chair, climbed, popped the panel. Inside, not the factory camera. Someone had swapped it. New tech. Smaller. No serial. Hidden transmitter. Not Wi-Fi. Cellular. A ping. My laptop lit up across the room. Email notification. No subject. Just a link. I clicked. A live video feed. Of me. Standing. On the chair. Looking directly into the lens. If someone's always watching, make them regret what they see. My hands trembled on the keyboard. Cut. I scanned the router logs. Unknown IP. Masked origin. No bounce-back trail. Whoever was watching, they knew what they were doing. And they'd been watching for a long time. I started unplugging everything. Cameras. Router. USB drives. And then another ping. A second email. Same format. Different link. I hesitated. Clicked. It was old footage. 4 weeks ago. Florence entering the house. Unlocking the door. But not with a key. With a keycard. One I'd never seen before. The name on it, RHEA Sinclair. Cut scene. My breath caught. A shadow moved outside the window. I ducked. Crawled to the curtain edge. A car. Idling across the street. No lights. No plates. No driver silhouette. But it was there. Watching. Waiting. I slid my phone camera through the blinds. Snapped a photo. Car blinked its brights. Once. Twice. Then pulled away. Tires silent on the wet asphalt. I stared after it, my pulse climbing. The locks are new. But the danger already got inside. I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table with the lights off, the house breathing around me like it didn't recognize who owned it. Every sound felt deliberate. The fridge clicked. The floor settled. Somewhere, something hummed. I opened my laptop and hardlined into the security hub I'd ripped out the night before. No Wi-Fi. No cloud. Just raw access. Most of the files were dead. Corrupted. On purpose. One folder wasn't. Rhea_night_01. I hesitated. Then clicked. The footage came up grainy, black and white. Night vision. The front porch. Rain drifting sideways. A figure stepped into frame. Hood up. Calm. Too calm. She lifted her hand. A keycard flashed. The door unlocked. I leaned closer as the camera auto-zoomed. She turned her head, just enough. Female. Late 30s. Sharp jaw. No fear. The timestamp burned into the corner, 2 weeks ago. I scrubbed forward. Cut. Interior cam. Living room. She moved like she knew the place. Didn't look around. Went straight to the hallway closet. Kneeled. Opened the panel I'd found last night. She smiled. Of course, I whispered. I exported the clip. Copied it twice. Burned it to a drive. Another to the cloud. Redundancy is a form of prayer. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without speaking. A woman's voice. Filtered. Steady. You're very curious, Eli. Rhea, I said. A pause. Then a laugh. Soft. Pleased. Smart boy. You broke into my house. Your house. Another pause. We should be precise. The line clicked dead. Truth doesn't hide. It waits for timing. I shut the laptop and stood. Cut. Rhea Sinclair lived 3 blocks away. Gray duplex. Clean lines. No porch furniture. Garage door closed. No car. I circled once. Twice. No cameras visible. I slipped into the side yard and found the garage window cracked an inch. A pry bar. One breath. Pressure. The lock popped. Inside smelled like ozone and motor oil. A workbench against the far wall. 3 monitors mounted above it. All dark. I hit the power. Screens bloomed to life. Feeds. My street. My porch. My living room. Me. I stepped back, heart slamming. On one screen, I watched myself move. Another showed my bedroom. Empty now. A third screen showed a spreadsheet. Names. Dates. Dollar amounts. Harper Family Trust. Below it, holding entity, Salt Hill Acquisitions LLC. Owner, L. Harper. My vision tunneled. I scrolled. The purchase agreement loaded. Draft status. Closing date, 48 hours. Buyer, Salt Hill Acquisitions LLC. Seller, Florence Harper. Property, 24, Salt Hill Road. Signature line, Lillian Harper. I staggered back, bumping the workbench. Tools clattered. My sister. Not a pawn. Not collateral. The buyer. Power isn't taken, my father used to say. It's handed to whoever looks like they deserve it. On the desk, a laptop sat open. Email inbox. I scanned the subject lines. Final step, transfer incoming. Erase residual claimant. POA validated. Residual claimant. Me. I copied everything. Photos. Screenshots. Files. My hands moved fast. Muscle memory. Survival. Footsteps outside. I froze. A shadow crossed the frosted glass. A hand brushed the door. My phone buzzed. Text. From Lily. We need to talk. You're crossing lines you don't understand. I tapped back. You bought my house. Seconds ticked. No response. The garage door handle rattled. I killed the lights. Slid under the workbench. Held my breath. The door creaked open. A figure stepped inside. Phone light sweeping. Rhea. She moved straight to the desk. Not panicked. Annoyed. You should have stayed invisible, she said to the room. I watched her from the floor as she tapped keys, frowning. She knew. I inched backward. Hit the door with my heel. It slammed. I ran. Out the side yard. Fence. Over. I hit the ground hard, rolled, kept moving. Didn't stop until my lungs burned. Cut. Back at the house, I locked myself in the bathroom. Sat on the tub. Shaking. The phone buzzed again. Email this time. From a burner address. Attached, the purchase agreement. Highlighted. A note beneath it. Family makes this clean. I stared at Lily's signature until the letters blurred. I always thought betrayal would feel loud. Explosive. This was quieter. Colder. She wasn't just my sister anymore. She was the buyer. The resort smelled like sunscreen and money. Palm trees staged just right. Laughter drifting like it didn't know how fragile it was. I walked through the lobby with wet shoes and a calm that scared me. Lily was by the pool. Sunglasses. Linen dress. Champagne sweating in her hand. I didn't say her name. I slid the flash drive under her chair. She looked down. Looked up. What is this? She asked. A mirror, I said. For when you're ready to see yourself. She laughed once. Too loud. You're being dramatic. I leaned in. Open it. Her smile tightened. You're crossing lines. I crossed them the moment you bought my house. The word bought hit her like a slap. She didn't deny it. She stood. Not here. Then don't look, I said. But if you do, you'll know who's been watching you sleep. Cut. I walked out before she could answer. Didn't run. Didn't look back. Power hates witnesses, I told myself as I crossed the parking lot. So be one. I drove straight to Malcolm Price's office. Blind still drawn. Door locked. Again. This time, I didn't knock. I waited. He arrived 10 minutes later, tie loose, phone glued to his ear. He saw me and froze. Eli. I stepped inside with him. Closed the door. I dropped the drive on his desk. Open it. He swallowed. You don't want to do this. I already did. He plugged it in. The video loaded. Rhea on my porch. The keycard. The hidden panel. The spreadsheets. The LLC. Lily's name. Malcolm's face drained. You filed a power of attorney under mental distress, I said. You used a dead notary. You moved assets during a pending family trust review. That's not clever. That's felony fraud. He rubbed his eyes. You don't understand the pressure. I understand leverage, I said. And I have it. He leaned back. What do you want? A pause, I said. 48 hours. No closing. No filings. No more ghosts. And if we say no? I tapped the drive. Then this goes to the county. The bank. The AG. And every reporter who knows how to spell forgery. Silence. Truth moves slow, my father used to say. But lies sprint until they fall. Malcolm nodded once. 48. I turned to leave. He stopped me. Eli, Rhea isn't just a consultant. I waited. She's Florence's daughter. The room tilted. What? Not legally, he said quickly. Illegitimate. From before your parents married. It was buried. Settled. Quiet. My jaw locked. You're lying. I wish I were. The pieces slammed together. The illness bills. The money. The rage with direction. She thinks the house was hers, Malcolm said. She thinks your family stole her life. And Lily? Malcolm exhaled. Lily made it clean. She built the entity. She thought she was fixing something. I laughed. A sound with no humor. You don't fix theft by making it elegant. Cut. Night fell fast. Storm clouds rolled in from the water. I parked across from Salt Hill and killed the lights. The house sat dark. Quiet. My phone buzzed. Lily. Meet me. Ballroom. Now. The resort ballroom glowed like a jewel box. Music pulsed. A wedding? A fundraiser? It didn't matter. Crowds make people sloppy. Lily stood near the bar, pale now. The dress hung wrong. She hadn't slept. You put a drive under my chair, she said. Are you trying to humiliate me? I'm trying to stop you. She laughed, brittle. You always think you're the hero. I'm the witness, I said. Different job. She leaned closer. You don't know what Mom did. Tell me. Her eyes flicked around. Rhea found the records. The settlement. Mom paid her to stay quiet. For years. Then the treatments got expensive. Rhea wanted the house. So you sold it to yourself. I protected us, Lily said. I cleaned it. No court. No scandal. By erasing me. She flinched. You were collateral. When people say it's for the family, I said softly, check whose name is on the check. A murmur rippled through the room. Two men in suits approached. Security. Lily's phone lit up. She read. Swore. They're filing tonight, she said. Ria's forcing it. I stepped back. Then stop her. I can't, Lily said. She has Mom's confession. The illness. The transfers. Everything. My chest tightened. Mom's alive. Lily hesitated. Just a beat too long. She's resting, Lily said. The beat landed. When the story stutters, I thought, that's where the truth hides. I turned and walked out as thunder cracked over the water. My phone buzzed again. New email. From Ria. Final step, transfer incoming. Midnight. Attached, the closing packet. Highlighted clause, residual claimant to be extinguished. I stared at the words until they burned. They didn't just take the house. They rewrote the family. The storm broke at midnight. Wind rattled the front porch. Rain pounded like drums demanding justice. I stood on the driveway, phone in hand. The email glowed. Final step, transfer incoming. Midnight. I clicked it open again, eyes narrowed. Salt Hill Acquisitions LLC. Closing documents. Signatures. Stamped. Filed. My name wasn't there. But Lily's was. Right beside mine, fake. I exhaled slow. The house that should have been mine. The house I built with my work. Was about to disappear. I drove through sheets of rain. Lights off. Signal weak. I reached the county building just as the clock blinked 11:57 p.m. Doors locked. Windows dark. I slipped around back. Concrete tastes cold in the dark. A side door. No guard. No cameras. I pried it open with a stolen keycard, one I copied from the resort video. Inside, printer word. Midnight clerks dozed on chairs. A screen showed pending filings. My filing. The real one. I swiped the flash drive. Uploaded it. The system flagged duplicates. Alerts. Clerk stirred. Phones buzzed. I backed out. Heart thumping. Justice isn't a place, I whispered. It's the path you choose to take. Outside, footsteps. Not mine. I ducked behind a pillar. A silhouette passed. Tall. Broad shoulders. Ria. She didn't see me. She pulled out her phone, spoke low. They're uploading the fake closing. Stop it before it propagates. Her voice was calm. Too calm. I waited. She walked right past me, unaware I was 2 feet away. Heart thundering, I slipped out the opposite exit. Rain washed my face. Cut. I parked across the street from the house. Lights flickered inside. A figure moved. Too quick. Too deliberate. I slid into the driver's seat. Dialed a number. Detective Nolan? Harper, he said, voice gravelly. I need to show you something. Click. Nolan arrived in minutes. A rain-slicked SUV. No sirens. No lights. Just presence. I handed him the flash drive. He plugged it into his laptop. Images. Docs. Emails. His eyes narrowed. We can issue a seizure warrant, he said. For what? Forgery. Fraud. Unauthorized transfer. Potential identity theft. I stared at the house. My heart pumped loud. Thunder answered me. Truth is a storm, I thought, and storms reveal what's buried. A car rolled up behind Nolan's SUV. Headlights on. 2 figures stepped out. Lily. And Malcolm. Lily's face paled when she saw us. You shouldn't have done this, she said. I should have done it sooner, I said. Malcolm stepped forward. Eli, there's more you don't know. I braced. He held up a folder. Your mother, alive. My breath caught. What? I said. She's alive. In a medical facility. Rhea arranged care. The records were sealed. The rain fell harder. Everything creaked. I felt like the world tilted. Lily's eyes welled. She didn't want you to know. She thought you'd. Thought I'd what? I snapped. Be thankful? I stepped closer. Heartbeat pounding. Nolan watched us with cold eyes. I opened the folder Malcolm offered. Inside, medical clearance forms. Confidential. Phoenix Rehabilitation Center. Florence Harper. Alive. And something else. A document stamped urgent. It was a reverse mortgage application. Filed 3 years ago. In my name. Signed. No consent. No signature match. I stared until the letters swam. My house wasn't just being taken. It had been leveraged against me. Against us. Sometimes the enemy isn't the one holding you down, I whispered, but the one who shapes the leverage. I pulled out my phone. Recorded. I, Elias Harper, did not sign this reverse mortgage. This was done without my consent. I request immediate investigation of all related parties. Nolan watched the recording end. You want a public ballroom or a courtroom? He asked. I didn't blink. Courtroom, I said. Cut. 3 hours later, we stood outside the Charleston courthouse. Cameras. Reporters. Flashbulbs. Lily's face was ashen. Malcolm beside her. Rhea nowhere to be seen. Nolan pushed through the crowd with the sealed warrant. Forgery. Fraud. Conspiracy, he listed to the cameras. I watched from the sidelines. The house. The locks. The betrayal. All of it leading here. The judge read the charges. The room was silent. My heart hammered. Then. All defendants are ordered into custody pending further hearing. Breath caught. Reality hit. I stepped outside onto the courthouse steps. Rain had stopped. The air was clean. I looked down the street. My house stood dark across the road. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm. The storm had passed. The truth was out. I had fought. And even though the scars remained, I knew this. Freedom is not found, I whispered, it's reclaimed. I walked away from the courthouse. Not angry. Not victorious. Just whole. Behind me, the flashing lights dimmed. Ahead, the sunrise broke over Charleston like judgment and mercy meeting on the same horizon. I breathed in. And finally, I was free.